Fill her up.
You're listening to the Gas Digital Network.
Conceive, believe, achieve. Shut the f*** up.
You're listening to Believe You Me with Michael the Count Bisping.
You know my name yet?
And Anthony Lionheart Smith.
Believe you me, Anthony Smith, you are back. You just walked in. Welcome home to the United States of America. But we've got to ask the first question of the show. What in tarnation happened with the weight cut?
Yeah, I fucking knew this. I knew you were going to ask. I knew this was I thought maybe we could make it through it without talking about it, but.
It's got to be the first question, but everyone's asking. They're already, people are dicks, and I'll let you talk because obviously this is your subject, but people are quick. There's something about human nature. They love to kick a man while he's down. You know what I mean? I'm assuming there's no one more pissed off at you than yourself, you know? I mean, of course, I'm sure there's going to be circumstances, reasons, and things like that. But of course, I'm sure you didn't go down there planning to not make weight. So you're pissed off, but a lot of people are being pricks in the comments. But go on. What happened, mate?
But I can't even tell you what happened because no matter what I say, there's a reason. There's a lot of shit that goes on behind the scenes that nobody sees. I was in shape. I was really low a couple weeks ago. And shit happens, but I have no excuses. I had a job. I had to go down and make weight. To be the alternate if something happened. To be fair, I was still there. I was still ready to fight. If something happened and someone had to pull out, I still would have fought. I just wouldn't have been eligible to win the title. But I don't have any. I have no excuses. I've been an absolute asshole about people missing weight. You got one job. You got to show up on weight.
Exactly.
Like, that's the easiest part of the job, right? So I stand by everything I've ever said about everybody else. That you have to make weight. That it's not an option. And I'll accept whatever shit's coming my way. It doesn't change my perspective.
There's no shit coming your way. Number one, the extent of the shit that's coming your way is wow.
Yeah.
Tap.
Yeah.
Anthony Smith, as if he went down to Brazil and didn't even make weight. Wow. And he has the audacity to lecture about fighters on a podcast. Wow. That's about it.
I'm still going to do it. I'm still going to do it. If the next person that misses weight, I'm going to say something about it because everyone else is coming at me. They're in the comments. They're on Twitter. They're talking shit. I'll eat it. Yeah. You know what? I missed.
There's nothing else you can do.
Some shit happened. I fucked up. I missed weight.
That shit.
I'll eat that shit. I'll take that L. But when it happens to someone else,
how's that shit taste, Anthony?
It is what it is. Like it's not because it wasn't for lack of effort.
No,
it wasn't for lack of effort. You know, I spent 48 straight hours cutting weight. Like it wasn't a lack of effort. You guys no one see me on the scale looking like I had an additional 20 pounds to lose. Like I got close, but it wasn't close enough. And that's my fault. And it'll never happen again. I'll be the first one on the scale in my next fight. And we'll be back on. And I'm not like a serial weight misser. You know what I mean? Like it happens and it wasn't on purpose. I apologize to everyone that it mattered to.
One more time, you'll be a serial weight misser.
One more time. That's what I mean. One more time. And
then a pattern starts forming.
Right.
In the words of a very famous fighter, in the words of Max Holloway,
it is what it is.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. All right.
And I had lots of conversations before we go on. I guess I had lots of conversations with the UFC. To be honest, they understand. They weren't super happy about it, but once the fights went through and everything was fine, everybody was good. They know that I'm a professional. That things the things happen, and again, I offer no excuses. That's on me.
Well, it is what it is, and as you said, both guys made weight. Both guys were healthy, so it didn't impact anything. You know, okay, granted, you went down there to be the backup. But whatever. Moving on. We won't say what it is, but you've got a fight booked as well. Obviously, you'll probably make an announcement at some point, but I'm very, very excited for you to hear that. So, ladies and gentlemen, Anthony Smith will be back in the octagon sometime soon, but we're not talking about that right now. But there is lots and lots and lots of storylines, of course. UFC 283, what a fantastic fight card at the weekend. We're just going to get straight into that main event. Glover to share. I mean, who do you start with? I mean, obviously Jamahal Hill won the belt, right? So that's the guy. He's the champion. A beautiful story, so emotional afterwards. The emotion, breaking down because of just what he achieved. I don't know the guy nearly as well as you do. He's been on the show a couple of times now. I was so emotional for him. That's amazing, but we'll get to him in a minute. Let's just talk about Glover Teixeira. I want to give that man his respect. First of all, we all know one of the nicest guys, a class act, an absolute warrior, provided endless hours of entertainment and fought the best of the best. Saturday night, that respect went even higher. I will say this. I thought that it was weird. And this is what time does to people. You might look fine. You look fine. You look fine. Then one time you step in the octagon and all of a sudden it's like he's aged overnight. I thought he looked like an older fighter on Saturday night. And I don't, not being disrespectful, just an observation, and certainly not taking it away from Jamahal. But the heart that he showed, the beating that he took, and then to continue to still be threatening, have his best moments in the 5th round when the referee was this close to stopping the fight. Oh my God, what a legend.
Yeah, Mike, there looked like there was conversations being had with coaches and the referee before the 5th round even started. I think there was some discourse. It seemed like some of the coaches wanted to continue and some of them did not. So I don't know the whole dynamics there and how that all works, but Glover was clear that he was ready to fight. And the arena was electric, absolutely electric, man. They loved him. They loved the Brazilians. And it was, like I said, it was the first time I'd been able to sit and watch a card in a long time. And it's been a while since I've been around for a fight that was so, it was just so loud. They were so hyped for Glover and just some of the shots he was taking, that he'd gotten dropped at one point, I think in the 4th, and he was up against the fence. Jamahal was in half guard, just raining elbows. And it was, I couldn't believe that he was able to come back from that. Like, you could almost see him biding his time too. Like, he was taking some big shots and he kept sitting up to the leg and sitting up to, like, he was still threatening, even being as hurt as he was. I don't know how he does it. I don't know how he did it.
Do you know what my favorite bit was? It was the end of the 4th round. Goddard was in there. I think Hackelman was calling for the fight to be called off because Hackelman's been with him this whole journey, right. And he knows, look, listen, you're probably not going to win this fight. This is your final fight. You're retiring after this one. Let's not, guarantee CTE down the line. Let's call this a day. But even after all that and the blood pouring out of his face, he's like, come on, let's go, baby. Like, this man right here. What a guy.
He's goddamn crazy.
He's crazy.
Man, he looked so bad. He looked so bad in the hotel afterwards, too. It was.
Oh, really?
I wanted to talk to him.
He didn't look too good on TV.
No, he looked real bad in the hotel afterwards. But I wanted to talk to him really bad. But his wife doesn't really like me.
Oh, really?
And no, well, I think it's his wife. And we have fought before. So I think there's some. She's fuck that guy.
I think she's very quiet as well because I met her for the first time and I said hi and she's she's
met her
probably a little shy. Yeah.
Very sweet lady. But
yeah.
And then there was an altercation right after the fight, and I don't mean to throw anybody under the bus, and I don't even know if I haven't even told Jamahal this.
Tell me the story. Tell us the stories. Tell the believers the story. Okay, just do it. It's out there. People know. It's all over the Rio de Janeiro Express.
I mean, it's not. I don't even know. I don't even know who it is enough to even throw him under the bus. But there was a person that was in Jamahal and his crew of people. Very, very respectful. Super respectful people. Like, they shake hands. They bow to people. Like Jamahal, his team, and his family members. And he had a guy from the NFL that was with him. There was a guy from the Red TV. The kind of YouTube TikTok sensation. Super respectful people. But there was one guy, and I don't know who he was. I think he was extremely drunk. And after Jamahal wins, the belt hasn't even been put on him yet, but it's clear who's going to win this fight. It's Glover's wife, his sister, and like a couple other like older ladies. They're sitting in the front row, right in front of me to the right. And one of them was he was excited. I get it. But he was screaming, that belt's coming back to America, like kind of in their face. Like, I don't even know that he knew who they were. I think he was just speaking to like Brazilians, but it happened to be right in front of Glover's wife. And then he looks over at me and says, Anthony, you help with this shit. You helped him. This is you too. And I was just like, oh, I don't want to be a part of
Awkward.
this. Yeah, I don't want to be a part of this. Like, what I did for Jamahal wasn't in spite of Glover. It wasn't like,
and you made that abundantly clear.
Yeah, it wasn't me and Jamahal versus Glover. It was Jamahal asked, and I've always had an incredible relationship with Jamahal and his management team, and so like, they asked and I said yes, and we vibe, we get along, we're similar in ages, we both got 97 kids, like we're just similar, you know what I mean? But it wasn't because I didn't like Glover, I wanted him to beat Glover. He asked and so I did it, and it was kind of like I was helping a friend. But then I felt in that moment very uncomfortable because it was almost like that guy was pulling me into his bullshit, and then like Glover's wife looked at me and like, that's not how it was. Like it wasn't like that, you know. So I just turned away and looked away. You know, I was uncomfortable. So then in the hotel, then I seen him and I wanted to go say hi and give him a hug and tell him how much I respected him and give him his due. But he was with his wife and I didn't want to like cause any issues. So I just walked away.
Well, I'm sure Glover knows. And I'm sure his wife knows as well that that's not the case. The problem is, you know, with fighters, because we are, you know, we're a certain type of person. You know what I mean? And our friends might be a certain type of way. Not everybody, but I have a broad section of friends, you know what I mean? Some of those friends might get a little bit crazy. Certainly my mates back home, geez Louise, right? And there's always a couple of rowdy ones. And certainly when you get some alcohol in them as well. Like I remember my first ever professional fight, 2003, I think it was. And, you know, it's your first ever fight, right? I smoked the guy. I think it was 39 seconds. It was a knockout. But the guy is a lovely guy, right? And afterwards, because the show's still going on. It's my first ever fight, so I'm like down on the prelims or some shit, right? Afterwards, we're watching the fights, and I'm at the bar getting a drink, and there he is at the bar. And he's a lovely guy, you know what I mean? So we're just chit-chatting away. And one of my mates bounces over, wasted. You're shit. You got annihilated. You should be embarrassed. I'm like, what are you doing, you asshole? Do you know what I mean? At least he had and they think in their minds that they're supporting you. Do you know what I mean? Or supporting Jamahal or whatever it is. But they're just drunk, they're carried away, and sometimes they don't understand how insensitive they're being. But I'm sure listen, Glover's
I got friends like that. My best friend while the fight week, while I was getting ready to fight John Jones, was just coming at John hard. Like every chance he got. Hey John, fuck you. I was like, dude, chill.
Which is awesome. It's awesome in a way. Though.
He still would too. He still would. And
I was going to say, I'm sure Glover's got thick skin, but I'm not sure anymore because it looks like half of his face was hanging off by the end of it. I'm going to say he's got thicker skin than that, but not anymore.
Those things were open.
Hey, God bless. Thank you to Glover Teixeira for all the memories and everything you brought.
On an incredible
Jamahal Hill. I thought Jamahal Hill, if he was going to win that fight, he had to catch him and knock him out. Put him to sleep, like he has done a lot of people with that signature power that he's known for. I did not expect him to defend the takedowns time after time after time, to be the better guy on the feet, to be pushing the pace, to be cool, calm, collected, composed, and just be controlling the fight. I didn't expect him to be able to push hard for 5 rounds. And even though Glover on occasion, certainly in the 5th round, took him down, mounted him, to be able to reverse positions like that as well. I mean, Jamahal Hill passed the test with flying colors. Of course, he's the champion of the world, but he showed, that he has evolved. He's got better. He's a complete mixed martial artist. He's a goddamn champion of the world. Congratulations.
Man, I told you guys. People thought I was crazy. They're like, there is no way.
Did you?
There is no way that Jamal's going to grapple. I said, listen, his best chance to win is to stay on his feet, obviously. But I think Kevin Iole called me like Saturday morning, wanted to know, like, how's this going to go? And I said, clear as day. He's going to be harder to take down than people think, and he's going to be harder to hold down than people think. He is a fast learner. And I think I said that part on here. He is a fast learner. If you show him something once, he'll have it right away. And everything that I'd seen him drill, everything that they worked on, his jiu-jitsu coach, it's Chad and Justin and all the people around him, they just worked. And that fight looked exactly like every one of his training sessions. He may have just had a breakout moment where he had the performance of a lifetime. I mean, even the stuff on the fence, you know, fighting to the frame, and then when Glover would go to take his back, turn the frame to an underhook to push off. I've seen him do that 100 times, just training. Like I think that there is so much film on Glover out there that was easy to kind of formulate a game plan with Jamal's strengths and where his weaknesses are and kind of hide them.
Mm-hmm.
For the type of wrestler that Glover is, it worked really well in Jamal's favor. He went to the single leg, wanted to come to the body lock, and Jamal was ready for that. They trilled it over and over and over. He didn't do anything that was surprising to me. Everything that he had planned on doing, he did.
Well, Jamal.
The surprising part was that Glover was able to take the shots, to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, Glover's tough as all boots. I mean, he did it. Glover was doing a really good job of rolling with the shots and not allowing them, a lot of them, to connect flush. They were more glancing blows because the way he was rolling with them. But Glover Teixeira afterwards, what a beautiful moment. Beautiful moment. I mean, listen, the man broke down in pure emotion, pure tears of joy. But it's not only tears of joy when you've been through something like that. It's the road. It's the journey, it's the adversity, it's people telling you can't do it, where he comes from. People aren't supposed to achieve such great things. And you can resonate, I can resonate. You know, I thought he was going to drop out the old conceive, believe, achieve sign. You know what I mean? It was an amazing, incredible moment. And, you know, to see what it meant to him, his whole team. I mean, I couldn't be happier for the man. He truly deserved it. He was by far the better man. Yeah. What's your take?
I was sad for Glover at the end because the arena was almost empty. Like they just got. I mean, I get it.
The car parks, bro. The car parks. They're a nightmare in Brazil.
They are. I mean, it was bad. It was a rough trip to get back to the hotel. But I just thought that maybe they would stay and at least give him his great send off. Shogun got an incredible send off. You know, they just cheered him all the way out, and I was hoping that Glover would get that, but I mean, I get it. Maybe they didn't understand he was going to retire right then and there, but they were leaving during Jamal's speech. So
yeah.
That part was sad. Do
you know what the best bit was, though? For Glover Teixeira, forever the legend. I mean, his final words, some of the final words he ever said in the octagon was like, "Hey, listen, don't be throwing beer bottles. Don't disrespect him. He's the champion, and I'm going to walk him out here." That was just the classiest thing ever, because obviously we had Brandon Moreno running for his goddamn life, you know, getting Modelo'd all over the place. Took me back to Mexico City where Brendan Fitzgerald's hiding under the desk. Brendan, we do not hide under the desk, brother.
We don't, Brendan.
But my God, well done. But Brian, do me a favor. Play the video of Jiri Prochazka, right?
Oh my God, my body's ready. I don't
know. Have you seen this video?
Yes, I love it.
This is the best thing on planet Earth. The best thing ever. Jiri Prochazka is out there. He's in the forest. Hold on. He's in the forest. He's walking around like a madman
in the snow.
It's -10. He's got no warm clothes on. He's hunting for prey. All he's thinking about is fights. He's like some kind of character out of, like, I don't know, like the Mad Axe Man or something, wandering through the forests of Czechoslovakia and Prague, looking to murder people. He's a psycho. Press play.
Congratulations. I'm coming.
That is so badass.
Yeah. Well, but he's genuine. He's genuinely out of his mind. I'm not sure if he's going to be back in time to be the next challenger. I hope so. If not, before we move on to the co-main event, who do you think would be the next in line? Did you hear anything down in Brazil?
I didn't hear anything. I don't know. It sounds like there's a lot of people that are just kind of waiting. So yeah, I don't know.
Well, it ain't going to be Paul Craig, is it?
I know. Damn it. I had a moment with him in the hotel lobby, having a drink afterwards, and man, I was just bummed. Really bummed. Yeah, he just said that Johnny just had unreal power and that he thought he could get his leg and just run him kind of across the octagon and just ran out of room. And I was kind of like, man, you can't really treetop takedown a guy that's like 6'6" like that and it's all legs. It's just tough to do, which has kind of always been the I don't know, the thorn in Paul's side has always been he's just not a super strong wrestler. Like he's
a jiu-jitsu guy.
Yeah, he just can't grab a single and get to a body lock and be safer there, you know? So it was unfortunate. I was really sad for him, to be honest. He looked great too. We shared a warm-up or a workout room all week. and he looked really good. I wish he would have a little more confidence in his striking because watching him just briefly in the workout room, he looked good. He looked good on his feet. He's big. He's strong. He was in really, really good shape. And he just, he's just not as confident there. And I think if there's anyone in the world that could be a little more confident in his striking, it is Johnny Walker, because he's not a polished, really clean striker. I think he would have surprised himself and done a lot better on his feet than I think he believes he would have.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing about jiu-jitsu guys. Great once it hits the ground, not very good at getting them there. Like, for example, Callum, he's done jiu-jitsu, but he's a good wrestler. And he won a world championship at a low level because all he did was just blast doubles, take them down, and then hold them inside control. And people were spazzing out, going, "This is not jiu-jitsu." And he's like, "Well, stop me." You know what I mean? Yeah. Not the best takedowns. When he caught the kick from Johnny Walker, and this is a perfect segue to talk about that, because obviously Paul could have been the next contender had he got a good victory. Before we get to the other fights, I know main event, opening fight on pay-per-view, don't really correlate, but they're the same. We're bouncing around. We're going here, there, everywhere. Yeah, he caught that kick. The problem is you catch that kick, and it happens all the time in training. All the time. Like, people to catch a kick, they're trying to turn it into a takedown. The person who has their kick caught, who's standing on one leg, they often tee off on the person. I've seen that happen. I've had it done to me. I've been the puncher. I've been the person getting punched. It happens all the time. That's why from there, you've got to act quickly. You can't stand there and hesitate. That's why a single leg, you have your head buried into the thigh. You know what I mean? Standing and holding the leg here, you are a target. You're a sitting duck. You're essentially waiting to get hit. And as we know, Walker is a goddamn freak when it comes to that stuff. Yeah, you know what was more impressive? Powerful. Oh, crazy powerful. And I love Paul. Commiserations to Paul. He'll be back. It was a disappointing performance for him, for his team, for everyone that supported him on the journey. The people of Scotland. There's no other way of putting it. He didn't. Never in his wildest dreams did he want that. So, Paul, our thoughts are with you, mate. He's got to work on those entries and the takedowns. Not only just the striking, but I get it. Johnny Walker's freakishly powerful. So, yeah, and well done to Johnny Walker. But you know what was more impressive? When he was doing the worm.
Then he didn't blow a shoulder.
Well, he didn't blow a shoulder. When he was doing the worm, he just went back to his feet.
Did he?
I missed that. Yeah, man. He just popped right back up. You know what I mean? I was like, that was sick. I used to do a bit of wormy when I was younger on the dance floor. Do you know what I mean? Okay. But I had to get up like an old man, like, you know what I mean? Like a 17-point get up.
I didn't realize he popped right back to his feet.
Well, he went to his knees and then back up, but he didn't use his hands to assist him at all. It was very, very impressive. So I'm excited to see who he gets booked with next. So he deserves big things. Right, listen, you were going to jump in a second ago, Brian. What was so hot on your mind? Oh, here we go. Worm it up. Hold on. Boom. See, that was cool as hell.
That was way cooler than what I would have done.
Yeah. I would have come on, someone grab me. Give me a hand up. Yes, Brian.
I was just going to say, there are reports that Johnny Walker weighed in over 230 pounds on fight day.
He did.
He still made weight, though. Sorry, Anthony. Come on. You got a bit of teasing, bro.
I'll take it. That's what you were going to say, wasn't it, Brian? You asshole.
I wasn't even thinking that, but
Brian should have a bit of respect. Brian masquerades as your friend. He masquerades as the number one Anthony Smith supporter. Just beforehand, he's going to fly down and hold your dick while you're pissing stuff like that. What kind of
lies are about to come out of my?
But he sets you up for such a gigantic fall. Harrington, can you believe Brian just did that to our down in the dumps right now? Anthony Smith is Harrington there.
Where the hell is Harrington?
I would never, ever think to say a bad word about Anthony Smith.
Anthony, I didn't. Harrington looks like, like on Instagram when you filter yourself and you start messing with the settings and you turn the contrast up way too much. Harrington looks like a real life Instagram filter. What's going on? Stand up and show me your ass, Harrington. Just stand up and give me a little a look back on one of these.
Shake it a little bit.
Yeah, dude. Just give us one. Stand up.
Oh my God, he's actually going to.
Oh, his ass crack was
hanging out. Yeah, his ass crack.
Oh, love it. Work it, baby. Work it. There we go.
Dude, I'm going to be an influencer in no time, dog.
Oh, God, there we go. All right, Brandon Moreno, Deiveson Figueiredo. Wow. Woo. Moreno, unbelievable. Figueiredo had some great moments. There were some nice transitions back and forth. Moreno was the faster guy. He was more urgent. He fought with a sense of urgency. He was the better guy. The punch, of course, that closed up the eyeball. Can't fight with one eye. We know this. It's damn near impossible.
I've seen someone do it.
But well done to Brandon Moreno. You know, he was the better guy, better game plan. He'd learned more. He'd made more adjustments throughout the fights. And Deiveson Figueiredo, I'm trying to choose the right words. Yeah, it wasn't out of the 4 fights. Of course, it wasn't the best showing. He looked like he'd started to slow down a bit. I know for a fact he had a terrible weight cut as well. So I'm sure that had a factor. But again, that's down to him.
You know, I had heard the opposite, actually, that his weight cut, it actually went really, really well. But, you know, they're always going to say that. But Brandon just had a way better game.
He was meant to do the show here Thursday. And the people that organized the show, and I'm sorry to interrupt,
no, you're good.
They messaged said he's having an awful weight cut.
Oh,
he can't call in and do the show because his weight cut's going awful. I never said that publicly because, you know, I don't do that. I'm not messaging the betting sites and be like, yo, he's having a bad weight cut. I don't do that, Anthony.
No,
what I get told on this show is right here. I keep a secret.
Keep it. You didn't even tell me.
I didn't tell anyone. Trusted member of the community.
Well, listen, sorry, I mean, he was having a bad weight cut, and so was I, and I still came on. Just saying.
You did.
I should have been cutting more weight. God damn.
You shouldn't have been in that fucking blanket.
Why?
The sauna blankets are shit.
No, I've sweat my ass off in those things.
Not enough, hot. Obviously.
Yeah, not enough. Fucking god damn it.
Anyway, quick.
Couldn't have given blood or something, Anthony?
Yeah, no kidding. No, I
use the Manscaped. Get your pubes off.
All of them. Pound
all of them. All right, so Moreno, Figueiredo.
No, I thought Moreno had a good game plan. He was, anytime that Figueiredo would start to pressure him and move forward, he was just level changing, and you could see Figgy started having problems. He couldn't figure out if he was wrestling or striking. He was losing the grappling exchanges, which I don't think he expected to do. I didn't expect Moreno to win every single grappling exchange like that. Held him on his back with no problem for almost an entire round. I think he burned himself out a little bit on that guillotine. There's really nothing else to say. He was just beat in every area. He really was.
Yeah. He really was. And the final punch as well was well landed. It was unfortunate that it ended that way. You know, we've all been punched in the face many times. It's rare that an eyeball swells up like that. And that really was bad. The doctor did have no choice but to stop it, to be fair. So that was unfortunate. Coming up to 135, I like that. I wasn't sure if Figueiredo was going to announce his retirement as well. Being 35, being involved in 4 title fights in a row, mentally stressful, physically exhausting, financially beneficial in a big way.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? 4 title fights in a row. Do you know what I mean? That's good. And for a 125er, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure he made some good money.
It was a big fight.
Big fights. So, I mean, the last one was on the Francis Ngannou Cyril Gane. I mean, they've been on some big cards. So I was curious as to whether or not he'd call it a day. 135. Hey, let's go. Wouldn't mind seeing him up there. Probably more his natural weight class, and it will help his cardio greatly. So there it is. Now, a moment of appreciation and respect for a game plan executed 100% perfectly. I'm talking about El Darino, Gilbert Burns, the man with the afro, the man that looks 20 years younger. Why is Gilbert Burns looking like he's been in a time machine and gone back to 2005?
I don't know. It's weird, though. Some of it's the hair.
He's looking young.
Afro Gilbert is a dangerous man. I'm telling you, when he leaves his hair long, it means that dude he's training so hard, he doesn't even give a shit about a haircut. He's just like focused on the fight.
I'm podcasting and creating content so hard. I haven't been for a haircut lately. That's what me and Gilbert got in common.
Right.
No, that was amazing. Magny's always a tricky customer. He's a tricky customer. He's no mug. He's very experienced. What was so impressive about Gilbert? Obviously, Magny's long. So he stayed out of range. Not close enough to where he can get tagged. He stayed far enough out of range and then waited for the perfect opportunity. And when that opportunity was there, he struck threw a right hand. That brings the hands up, gets the body lock. Timed it perfectly. Fast, explosive, got the body lock. Took him down with authority. Didn't take a single shot. Complete one-way traffic. And then when he got him down, passed his guard and got the head and arm triangle. I mean, if that's not a strategic, systematic breakdown executed to perfection, I don't know what is.
Yeah, he took no damage on his feet. He didn't play the that game with Neil Magny that Neil tends to win. It's just high volume. He makes it tough on people. He doesn't necessarily. He's not hurting you a bunch of times with big punches, but it's just consistent. The dude's super tough. So, again, I kind of felt bad for Neil just because it was such a dominant performance. I ran into Neil a few times after the fight, talked to him, and he just said he's got to work on that. That's obviously a hole in his game, his kind of bottom jiu-jitsu game, and that he's going to go back and work on it. But honestly, just the level between him and Gilbert Burns' top game is just it's a different level. I think everyone expected that if Neil ended up on the bottom, that's how it was going to go. But I think Gilbert needed that too, not just for his career, but I think just emotionally, mentally, he needed to go in and get a big finish. He's an angry man right now, though. He got passed up in the rankings by Bilal Muhammad. He's not happy about it. Apparently, Bilal turned down an opportunity to fight him in Rio. He's not happy about that.
So hold on. So Bilal's out there saying that everyone's turning him down, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
And no disrespect to Bilal, we're just staring at the pot and having a laugh.
Sure.
We're having a laugh, Bilal Muhammad.
Yeah, calm down.
Calm the fuck down,
Gilbert
bro.
did say that he turned down a fight. He did, and that's a fight I want to see. That's a fight I want to see.
Interesting, but here's a fight I'd rather see. No disrespect to the great Bilal, remember the name, Muhammad. The one he asked for, Colby Covington.
Let's go.
That makes all the sense in the world. One, they got the viral moment of him calling him out, combined with the viral moment of Colby Covington calling Brazil a dump, and they're all filthy animals in Brazil with the crowd booing. They both want to fight for the belt. They both lost to Kamaru Usman, Colby twice. If they want to get another shot, they've got to fight a top contender. In terms of stylistic matchups, it's interesting. Is Colby going to take Gilbert down? Does he want to play that game? I don't know if he does. On the feet, Gilbert probably hits harder, but Colby has the pressure and the pace and the cardio. So it's an interesting clash of styles.
Very, very. I out of those three, two of them got to fight each other. To be honest with you, I don't care who fights who. I think that those three guys. If I was one of those three guys, I'd be just blowing up Mick Maynard and Sean Shelby's phone, because one of you guys are going to get left out, and you don't want to be the odd man out for sure. Or, to be very fair, one of you is going to end up with Hamzat. So you got to find the matchup that works better for you, because a win, you take those four guys, whoever has the most impressive win, if you were to match them, 2 fights, I think gets the next shot. So you got to find the best matchup for yourself and chase it. You got to chase it.
Just in the spirit of the show, because we like to tease Harrington, and it's not bullying, and he doesn't cry himself to sleep. So just bloody relax in the comments. Harrington's put a little note in the note section in the chat. He's put a quote, but he doesn't say who it's from. So I am none the wiser, Harrington. You put in speech marks. Bilal was the fight the UFC wanted to make, but he was one of these guys. Oh, I'll fight him, but not in Brazil. Not right now. Not on that day. Assuming from Gilbert, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's from Gilbert Burns.
Okay. I mean, my powers of intuition told me that, but I could have said, oh, here's Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Sorry. Harrington, get on here, buddy. I hope you're well, mate. How was your weekend?
It was great. There was fights. It was awesome. I was at my in-laws' place, and I got them to turn on the Munir Laziz fight. Like, I got them to turn off football for a minute just for that one fight, and they were hooked. They were in for the rest of the card.
Was that one of the first fight cards that they've seen?
I think for UFC, probably, yeah.
Yeah. Because it's interesting, because I know a lot of people, when they first watch it, if they've never seen it, they're like, oh, this is barbaric or whatever. But then they watch it and they're like, oh, this is quite fun, because obviously the UFC production is so slick. You know what I mean? It's pretty hard not to be entertained.
That was a pretty solid first fight too. Just big first round knockout. That's how you get somebody hooked, I think.
Right. So, Harrington, we got some non-MMA stories here. I'm just going to say we're going to start with this one. Anthony Smith, you're a Kansas shitty.
Shit, he got take it easy.
I mean, are they shitty? Kansas
No,
shitty
they're good.
Chiefs?
They're about to go to the Super Bowl.
Thrown around? Has that been thrown around before, the Kansas shitty Chiefs?
Oh, I'm sure. They're about to go to the Super Bowl, though.
I'm making a T-shirt, bro.
One more win.
I'm making a T-shirt, the Kansas shitty. Well, they've got shitty fans anyway. We know that.
No, they're incredible fans.
Well, they're not exactly honest fans. They're not honest.
Well, no, you didn't say honest. You said they were shitty.
They're not honest. The Kansas City Chiefs fans are not honest people. And honesty is a quality. Well, because they're running around robbing banks.
Oh,
Did you know that?
Was there one guy?
There's a guy robbing banks. He's a Kansas City Chiefs fan because the tickets are so expensive. He has been forced to hold up banks.
They are fucking expensive.
At gunpoint. Right, Harrington, give us the lowdown on what's going on here.
So I know, Anthony, you've been to a bunch of Chiefs games, so you might actually know this guy. The Chiefs
season ticket holder, fool. Take it easy.
Whoa. He's been to a bunch of games. Anthony, you might know every single person in the stadium. I'm from England. People go, oh, do you know my mate from London? Okay. Yeah, I know him. Yeah. Okay.
So it's not like that, right? In the NFL, there's certain diehard fans for certain teams that, like, for instance, I'm a Jets fan. Fireman Ed. Everybody knows Fireman Ed. He's a former Long Island fireman. I think the Chiefsaholic might be the same way. He's the guy who shows up as a werewolf to every single game.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
Well, he's not the guy that robbed banks, though, is he? That's very well-known. The Chiefsaholic. He's on TV. I know him.
So this guy, he would essentially he would go on away games, right? With the team. He got like the plan. But when he was in these cities, right, around these Chiefs games, they were noticing a pattern of bank robbing showing up to the point where they were like, wait a second, this is a Chiefs fan who's doing this. And they got the Chiefsaholic.
So
he was traveling to the away games robbing banks?
Yeah. And then
that's dedication. That's dedication. That's a real fan. How would you feel, Mike, if every single time you fought, there was a British guy that was traveling to your fights and robbing banks when he got there, just so that he could watch you fight? Is that a dishonest man or is that a super fan?
Oh, it's a thief. It's a criminal. It's endangering lives. But I love the guy. You know what I mean? That's my number one guy right there. Is that him? But Harrington, how was he robbing the banks? Because robbing a bank, I didn't even know that was still a thing with modern technology and all the rest of it. You know what I mean?
You know my stepdad was a serial bank robber?
Was he really?
Yeah, he died in prison.
Serial bank robber.
17 banks.
Wow.
17 banks.
How many times was he caught?
Just the last time.
Then
they hooked him he got like 30 years.
No, is he still inside?
No, he's dead now. He died in prison.
Oh, God bless him.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. What was his final meal? Do you know?
I don't.
Did he give him that chance? You know, like on what's that?
No, like he wasn't like he was executed. He just died.
Yeah. No, he died. Okay. But what's that movie with Gerard Butler and some Most Dangerous Citizen or something? No. You know when he gets sent down, his family get murdered, and then he goes after them.
Oh, don't tell me. Hold on.
Citizen. Most law-abiding citizen. Law-abiding citizen. Yes,
I know that. I know a movie. I seen a movie.
I'm proud of you, bro. I'm proud of you. You can't make weight, but you got to move it. And we are all even.
Nobody's seen that movie. How is that the one that Anthony knows?
I love that movie.
Law-abiding citizen's a very popular movie. Yeah. So how much is the average ticket to a football game? Because what I thought of when I saw that is because it is ridiculous to go to sporting events, to go to concerts and things these days. It's out of control. That's why when I saw that story, I sent it to the notes because number one, you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan, so I thought we could have a laugh with it. But also, it does kind of highlight a kind of crazy point. You know, with the scalpers and these websites that buy the tickets the moment they go on sale, and then they sell them at astronomical prices. They hike them up like crazy. There needs to be something done about that because the real fans are being made to suffer, and these arsehole companies are making an absolute killing in profits.
Yeah, the seat prices are super, super expensive. Like Harrington's a Jets fan. He could probably get a ticket there for, I don't know, $13, $14, I'd imagine.
Nobody wants one, right?
But nobody wants one. But yeah, I mean, look at these prices. These aren't even like fantastic seats that he looked up here.
Yeah.
Those are kind of like upper deck seats that are $375. Yeah. Where I sit, they're my section's like 118 ish.
Right.
Like kind of halfway, halfway
think
down.
about that though.
Yeah.
118.
Like halfway
How much
down.
Is that for a ticket at 118?
Look that up,
think
Brian.
about that.
I don't know. Probably honestly, they resell like $500 or $600 a ticket.
Which is insane. Imagine you've got a family of 5 and you want to go because it's a family day out.
4 tickets. Yeah.
4 tickets, that's $1,200 if it's $300. Then, transportation, if you've got to stay in a hotel, if you're from out of town or whatever. Right. It's ridiculous. It stops people supporting
it's a 3-hour drive, a hotel. It's the whole deal. It's an expensive trip every time.
Going to watch a football game, going to watch a boxing match, a fight, whatever. These are things, it should be a working class pastime. You know what I'm saying? Like, granted, okay, if you want to be on the floor and you want to be a bigwig and you want to be ringside where all the celebrities are, granted, you're going to pay for that. That comes at a premium. But to be sitting in the stands, enjoying a game, enjoying a sport, you should be able to do that without making that like the big highlight and you're having to save up for it for a year. Like, it
reminds me of the fights. It reminds me of the fights. I feel so bad.
Yeah.
Because an experience sitting like in Dana's section, the fighter section, like sitting that close, if you had to pay for that, like on the other side of the floor, those are like the Apex, for example. They're $5,000 seats. Like,
yeah.
Like it's just so expensive. And I get it. You got to make your money back. You got to pay fighters. You got to pay staff. Like, I get it. But
a lot of the time, though, it's not even the UFC, though. It's not the UFC. It's these companies. That's why I get hit up by people. They want to go to a fight, and it's like, Mike, I would love to come and watch, but it's just so expensive because of the secondary market. You know what I mean? I would love to see some kind of law passed or some bill or some kind of practice that stopped these scalpers or whatever you want to call them, these websites that sell them at a profit. They need to. It's just unethical. But I was going to say, like in England, the football stadiums, they are in like the working class towns. They're right where, like, we have rows and rows of streets, like terraced houses, we call them, like in the neighborhoods where people live, where kids are kicking the ball around, right? And then at the end of the street, there's a big goddamn massive football stadium. You know what I mean? Because it's a working class sport for working class people. And to buy a ticket, I'm sure back in the day was not much. And I'm sure these days, because everything's getting more and more expensive, but that's how it should be. You shouldn't be having to break the bank and save up for a year or take out bloody loans or rob banks.
Right.
Able to go and watch a game.
I wanted to watch the Conor Mayweather fight because I think I was in town. And I remember thinking, like, man, this is like a historical type of fight. Like, not gonna see anything like this again. Like, maybe I'll just buy a ticket, whatever it costs to just get in the door. Like, I'll just buy a ticket somehow. Dude, it was like 20 grand. Like, you could get like
20 grand
for like a halfway decent seat. Like for a nosebleed seat, they were like $6,000. So I was like, fuck that, no way. It's just insane.
The last time Rebecca and I went to a concert, I mentioned this recently, we went to Pearl Jam, right? It's her favorite band, never been, they were in LA. And I bought them off some website. And the tickets, they were like, I forget what they were like 500 a piece. So I thought, well, they've got to be good tickets. The 500 a piece, yeah, they're not on the floor or nothing, they're up in the stands, but they still must have a decent view and all the rest of it. We went, you couldn't even see the band. And you couldn't even hear it because it was literally the worst possible ticket seat you could have. We were like underneath this thing, right? Yeah. So that affected the audio, right? You couldn't, it was like we were watching it through a letterbox, but there were people in front of us, so we couldn't see the band and we couldn't hear it. And it's her favorite band. She's never seen them live. I spent a fortune for them. And she actually said after about half an hour, should we just go home? And I'm like, yeah, because it was so crap. And we spent a grand on that crap. You know what I'm saying? All right, you know what time it is? It is Manscaped time. It is trim the balls time. It is get those crown jewels feeling nice, smooth, ready for action with the Lawnmower 4.0. The best version, the latest iteration. The Manscaped 1 was good. 2 was better. 3 was insane. 4.0, oh my word, it's going to blow your mind. But don't just get the Manscaped 4.0. Get it as a part of the performance package, which of course includes the Lawnmower 4.0. But listen, like me, you've probably got nose hairs, probably got ear hairs. So you need the weed whacker. Get rid of all them. You need the crop preserver. After you have shaved your manhood, after it's glisteningly smooth and you haven't cut yourself and there's no blood or anything inside, use the crop preserver. It's a ball deodorant, and use the crop reviver, which is a ball toner. Or what you can do is get the platinum package, which has everything that's in the performance package, but it also has the ultra premium body wash, the ultra premium 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner, and the ultra premium deodorant, which I got to say smells amazing. Now, it's all vegan and sulfate free and all that good stuff. It's good for your skin and it leaves you smelling fresh. They've also got nail clippers, body buffers, and dozens of other products that you could use in your bathroom. So go to manscaped.com, use the code Bisping, get 20% off and free shipping. Thank you to Manscaped. They've supported this show for quite some time, but it really is a fantastic product. They do a good beard trimmer as well. I just got that through the mail the other day. Quality stuff. That's the thing about Manscaped. It's all really, really well-made products. That's why they've been around so long. That's why you see them sponsoring a lot of things, because it's a successful product and a successful brand. The items are quality. So check them out. Go to manscaped.com, use the code Bisping, 20% off and free shipping. Anyway, moving on. So we've done Neil Magny. So before that, Jessica Andrade, talking of Glover Teixeira fight, should have or shouldn't have been stopped. Lauren Murphy, Anthony Smith. What do you think about that fight? Do you think there was a case to throw the towel in or stop that fight?
To stop it, for sure. For sure. 100% agree. I think that fight should have been stopped. I don't think there was any reason for her to go out in the third round. But you know my take on it. And I'm going to tread lightly here because I had a conversation with her coaches the next morning. Just real, a quick conversation about kind of like what they were thinking. They think very much like I think, that the referee let her down. And like, when you're a coach and you're so focused on your fighter winning, could you make the argument that the corner could have stopped the fight? Absolutely. You can make that argument. But is that the corner's job? And this is where I go back and forth with this all the time, and people get so mad. And my stance has always been no. I don't think that's the coach's job. I don't want you in my corner worried about my health and safety. I don't want you worried about my future. I don't want you worried about my kids. You're there to worry about me winning. That's it. I need you to help me win. And if you're worried about the other things, then you're not coaching me to win. You're not worried about winning anymore. You're worried about keeping me safe. There's people that are employed by the UFC, by the athletic commissions, that's their only job. The referees come in all the time and say, well, my number one job is to keep you safe. Then that needs to be your number one job. Let's stop fucking nerding out on the fence grabs and you know what I mean? Like, I get it. That's an important part of the rule, but you're constantly hearing these guys, don't grab the fence. Like, they haven't even touched the fence yet, and they're already telling them not to grab it. If you're so gung-ho about the fence grabs, you should be just as equally gung-ho about fighter safety. And so and the doctors are the same way. If you bring a doctor in and he says you're good to go, his literal job is to say whether this fighter is yes or no. Like, that's your only job. You sit there and make sure that these people are safe. Why does that also have to be the coach's job when there's two other fail-safes that are there, in my opinion?
Yeah, you're right. You bring up a good point about the two other fail-safes, but I'm going to disagree with you there about the coach, because the coach ultimately should be driving the ship. He's not only just there to ensure victory, he's there as the head coach to do what is best for that fighter. Like, the coach should be, if it's a true head coach situation, he's the authority figure. The buck stops with him. He should make the calls. He tells you when to train. He tells you when not to train. He dictates what type of training we're doing. Tells you when to take a day off. Structures what you need to do for your weight, all the rest of it. He's your head coach. You look to him for guidance. And he should be the guy that looks and makes a determination and says, hold on a minute, we're not going to win this fight. I want you to come home physically still able to continue a fight career, but also not be so psychologically damaged and not be so traumatized and have your confidence affected that it affects your career and your earning potential going forward. This is how you make a living for your family. This is how you pay the bills. This is how you put gasoline in the car. This is your entire life if you're the fighter in question. So I, as your head coach, I'm going to put my ego to one side and put my desire for you to win, which a coach wants so badly for their fighters, but just have the realization and the determination that, hold on a minute, I'm going to make a very unpopular decision right now. I'm going to save you from yourself, because you are a fighter, and that's what we do, by definition in our DNA. We're gonna fight tooth and nail. Glover would have continued fighting if his face was falling apart. Lauren Murphy will as well. And God bless Lauren Murphy. And I've got so much respect for her. And this is in no way, shape, or form an insult to her or so much at her coaches, because I understand it's hard. Emotions are involved, and these are personal relationships, and they want the best. And they think, well, you know what? She's tough enough to get through this. And at least there's a moral victory in that. And I understand that side of things. But the psychological damage that can be done from taking a beating like that, they might never be the same. Getting caught, getting knocked out, flatlined, unconscious, that's one thing, right? You can still, like when I had that happen to me against Henderson, I was like, well, I was still outpointing him. So I still took positives away from it. Right. Getting the shit kicked out of you consecutively for 15 minutes and not even being dangerous in that can affect your ability to go forward and have a career. You know what I'm saying? And I understand it. It is a tricky one. And it is a good point that you make about there is two people that is specifically their job. Mm-hmm. And I love that point, what you just said there about why are they so gung-ho and so got their knickers in a twist, to use a British expression, about fence grabs. You know what I mean? They even look at that fence, they're saying it. And there's so many rules that are so on top of. How about stepping in and doing your job and making an unpopular decision and stopping the fight as well?
Yeah. How about we get Lauren Murphy home? Let's worry about that. Let's get her home safely to her family. And I'm not saying that the coaches they bear no weight here, but I think that they are the last level here. I think it goes referee, doctor, coaches. So everyone always wants to talk about the coaches and say, well, they know their fighter better. Well, like, I know my kids better than their doctor does, but I'm not doing any surgeries on them. You know what I mean? I'm not making any medical decisions when it comes to my children. So as far as the procedures, what needs to be done and giving my opinion on their health, like, I leave that to an expert, and that's what the referee and the doctors are supposed to be. There's obviously arguments to be had. Solid point. Had they stepped in and the coaches stopped the fight, I would have praised them. I would have given them all the praise in the world. But if I'm going to shit on someone who could have done a better job, it's going to start with the referee and it's going to start with the doctor, and then it will end with the coaches. There is an argument to be made that the coaches absolutely could have done that, and I won't argue with that for sure.
And I fully agree with that. Although I do think there is some responsibility on the coach as well. But very well put, Anthony. Very well put. Last point on this before we move on, because we've got a lot of points. We've got a lot of Harrington nonsensical stories. And we've got more fights.
I got to get out of here soon.
Get going. Funny you mentioned the Conor McGregor-Floyd Mayweather fight, because I was having this conversation on BT Sport yesterday. And look at that fight. Look at Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather. The referee stepped in and stopped that fight. This was a ridiculously big fight. Right. And he stepped in and stopped it. Conor wasn't taking anywhere near that kind of damage. His face was not bust up. It wasn't falling apart. There wasn't psychological damage. There wasn't potential brain damage, but he just wasn't doing particularly well. He wasn't
going to win.
And he wasn't going to win. So the referee stopped it. And you see that in boxing all the time, because it is a part of the sport and it's almost ingrained in the culture. And referees stop fights, corners throw towels. That is an element of the fight culture, which hasn't fully been integrated into mixed martial arts.
I mean, we need to take some of it. And I think the coaches, I need to clear this up. I think coaches need to stop fights more often. So I'm just not willing to hold them 100% accountable, like in the Lauren Murphy type of situation. I don't think that should be their job, but I do think that they need to do it more often. I think that, guys like Trevor Whitman, totally willing to stop a fight when shit gets.
Don't say anything. I just had an idea for a quiz. Real quick on the fly. Harrington and Brian on the screen. Let's go. 3, 2, 1. Anthony, we'll start with you. Give me an example of a time in mixed martial arts where a coach has stopped a fight.
Hold on. It was a Duke Rufus. Duke Rufus. Pettis.
Boom. 1 point. Brian McKay, give me an example of a fighter where a coach has stepped in and stopped the fight.
Shit, I don't even know.
Don't be Googling shit either.
My hands are right here. I'm not Googling. I'm telling you, I can't think of one off the top of my head.
Harrington?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I'm drawing a complete blank.
Exactly. This is my point entirely. I will say this: George St. Pierre, welterweight champion, taking on lightweight champion BJ Penn, high profile fight. Yep. Jason Perillo threw the towel in. The reason being that sticks out is because it is so rare, and that was in a big fight. So I do, but that was a great point, though, what you made, Anthony. I do see the logic in your point. I see what you're saying. Anyway, moving on. And George was sensational. Right. Not much more to say on that. I mean, she was one step ahead. She's a nasty. And we spoke about Paul Craig. Paulie, we love you, Paul. Get back, come back, be back. Watch your back. Anything that involves a back, you bloody have it. Right. What should we go to? In terms of notes? What should we go to? Oh, Tyson Fury, Francis Ngannou talking about boxing. Brian, do you have the video of Tyson Fury? Have you heard about this, Anthony?
I haven't. No, I haven't. I've been in Brazil with not great service.
Oh, tell me about it. We bloody did an interview with, I was going to say, Benil Dariush. He wasn't in Brazil. He was down the street. It wasn't great service. No. If you have it, Brian, I'll just keep talking while you look for it. But obviously, Francis departed. There's talks of him versus Tyson Fury. Mm-hmm. And then just yesterday or whenever it was over the weekend, he came out, he did a little video. He's called out Francis Ngannou, Queensberry rules. Here we go.
Francis Ngannou, I know you're out of contract with the UFC. You want to earn some big boy money? Come see the Gypsy King. And let's do a big fight for the baddest MF on the planet. And let's kick it up spicy in a cage. 4-ounce gloves under Queensberry, and let's have a badass referee like Iron Mike Tyson. Whoa, did I just sell that to the world?
Oh, okay, I'm in.
Sold it to me.
Yeah,
I just want to say that's not how you say his name.
Francis Ngannou?
That is not what he said.
Not Ngannou, but whatever. He's a gypsy.
We know who he's talking about. He's a gypsy.
Yeah, Brian.
Yeah, it's 4-ounce gloves changes it just a little bit.
It changes it. That bloody Ngannou's going to get his face butchered up. He could catch him. We don't get into the X's and O's and all the rest of it. We've done that a million times.
People are so mad that I said that Francis Ngannou wouldn't be very good in boxing. They were so mad about it. Like, okay. All you people that made all those comments, after you guys watch it, you come back here and you say nice things about me.
So we tune into this podcast every week because you guys are the experts. But if you give an opinion that we don't like, then you're idiots and you don't know what you're talking about. Do you know what I mean?
And now one of you is super fat.
Yeah. And you can't even make weight, bro.
Right.
Sorry,
make weight before you talk about it.
I will not mention it ever again after this episode.
No, I'm kidding. All right, Mike, I do got to go, though.
Oh,
I got to go get my kid.
Look at that. I mentioned the weight. Go one more time.
I promised to everybody. I do got to go get my kid, though. My kids are running all over the place, and she's been doing it alone.
Your family before the believers.
I know. But it'll be normal after this. I'll be back Thursday, and then Monday, Thursday, normal.
I mean, it's only 3 shows in a row now, but it is what it is. It is what it is. I mean, you got to make a dedication here, bro.
Mike, don't forget when you're in Bulgaria and we barely did this shit.
Oh, we did it once a week?
Barely.
Every week.
No,
every week. We never missed a show. We never missed a show, bro. We never missed a show. That's not a lie. It's not a lie. But all right, I'm joking, buddy. Right, get out of here. Right. Thursday, we'll see you then.
See you Thursday.
Enjoy being back with your family, mate. All the best.
All right, man. Thank you. See you guys.
Get some rest. Catch up on that jet lag. And
yes, sir. All right, bye.
Hamilton. And this would be an opportunity for you to join on. Brian, there you go. Brian already knew. Yeah, so Tyson Fury, Francis Ngannou in a cage with 4-ounce gloves with Mike Tyson refereeing. I mean, that has Triller Fight Club written all over it, doesn't it? You got Megadeth on in between rounds. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'd like to see it though.
To break out, Shawn Michaels is going to come out as the special enforcer. No, I do remember that there was an issue I had with it because right before he said that, he was like, if the Usyk fight doesn't materialize in the next month or whatever, and it's like, are you really using Francis Ngannou as a bargaining chip with this, Mike Tyson guest referee nonsense to pressure Usyk into signing a bout agreement? That didn't sit right with me.
Well, that is the fight that needs to happen. Tyson Fury versus Usyk, without question, is the fight that needs to happen. And if it doesn't happen, then shame on boxing and shame on everyone involved. Because at this moment in time, there is not a clearer fight that has to be made. They are the two champions sitting on top of the heavyweight division. They're in their prime, right? There's nothing stopping this fight happening. If it doesn't happen, it further accentuates the mess that boxing has become. It further accentuates the fact that the best don't fight the best, and certainly not in the prime. You know what I'm saying? So I hope that happens, but also for Tyson Fury, for Francis, I hope he gets that as well. I mean, that would be great, and I would love to watch it. Talking of Mike Tyson, and this is kind of not in the notes, but did you see that Jake Paul, yes, the Jake Paul, was talking about Mike Tyson, and he said that he would knock him out? Did you see that recently?
Meaning like current 50-something-year-old Mike Tyson?
Well, he would fit the bill for a Jake Paul opponent, let's be honest. He's going on about Mike Tyson, and people were still even laughing at him. But I was like, number one, just have a bit of respect. Do you know what I mean? Don't be saying I would knock him out. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean,
that's
like
look, Mike Tyson.
At the end of Ali's life, I'm pretty sure I could have knocked him out when he had fucking Parkinson's. But like, what are we talking about here? That's not something to brag about.
Tyson is not old Ali today. Tyson is still a bad man for a 50-something-year-old. Like,
certainly,
I wouldn't put it past him to knock Jake Paul out as well.
And certainly, if you're on a Southwest Airlines flight late at night, let's remember that one. Talking of Jake Paul, a little switcheroo here, but Luke Rockhold, not in the notes, but Luke Rockhold. I was with Jason Perillo a couple of days ago, and we were talking about Luke. Luke is coming back, okay? Took a little hiatus, but he's also a free agent now. And he was on Helwani, but I saw this, but I already knew I was talking to Perillo. He's been released from his contract, so he can now go anywhere he wants. He was, I think, hoping to go back to the UFC, but out the blue, he was given. Well, he did retire, to be fair. So he's been released from his contract, but he said he feels like I forget what he said now, but he feels like he's learned some lessons and feels like he's still got a lot to give. And on that note, he was talking about Jake Paul as well. He said he's going after Anderson Silva. Yeah, there it is. Luke Rockhold says the UFC granted request for my release. I asked for my freedoms. Yeah, well, he got what he wanted. So he was talking about Jake Paul to Ariel Helwani today, you know, and he said, look, listen, and he's like, I'm in my prime. I'm a middleweight. I'm not Anderson Silva, who's almost 50 years old. So let's go. So obviously he's you know, he's trying to get that fight. He's trying to get paid. He's trying to get that money. Trying to get that payday. And fair play to him. But is Luke in his prime?
I mean, I don't. Are you asking me? Are you?
I'm asking you, Hamilton. I'm putting words in your mouth.
Look, I would say. I mean, look. One look at the guy. He's in any normal man's prime, obviously, right? Like, obviously, he's in prime for me and most 25-year-old guys out there. But as far as his fighting prime, probably not. However, the fight he just put up against Paulo Costa was on the short list for fight of the year for a lot of people. Certainly still has a lot of power in his hands. You know, his boxing acumen, I think, has gotten better, you know, since he started working with Perillo. He's been getting that left hand up a hell of a lot more. So, you know, maybe his actual, God's honest truth, maybe his prime for the ability to take a boxing match against a 25-year-old kid. Yeah, that might be.
Yeah. And, you know, all jokes aside, listen, Luke's a freak athlete. He really is. He's so coordinated. He's so explosive and powerful, tall, long, rangy. I hope he gets a big fight like that. I really do. And in fact, should I reach out and try and get him on as a guest? That'd be nice.
Yes. It'd be so nice.
Yeah. He would.
Dude, I'll tell you this.
He's a nice guy. He is a nice guy. He's very misunderstood. And I helped with that. I talked a lot of smack, but we were opponents. We didn't like each other.
Dude, he remembered my name. I met him on Monday at Ruka, met him again on a Wednesday. He immediately remembered my name, sold me, right? 100%. I am a Luke Rockhold stan for life. After that engagement.
Okay, so what should we go to in the notes? So we've done the main card, of course, on the prelims. I mean, there's a couple of those brothers. Did you see those? What were the names? Ismail Bonfim knocked out Terrence McKinney. I mean, Terrence McKinney has so much potential. Some of the performances he had inside the octagon. Who was it that knocked him out? Was it Cody Stamen? No. Who was it that knocked him out? Not Cody Stamen. Who was it? It's on the tip of my tongue. Short little guy, blonde hair, attractive little son of a bitch, handsome bastard, heavy hands.
Drew Dober?
Drew Dober. That's who I'm talking about. High cheekbones all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
I think he finished him, but you know, he got caught. But again, this is the tricky thing. Terence McKinney does have so much potential. A great wrestler, good striker, knockout power, all the rest of it. Goes up against this unknown guy, a Bonfim, right? These Bonfim brothers, if you saw the prelims on Saturday night, Ismail Bonfim and Gabriel Bonfim both had amazing performances. McKinney got knocked out in round 2. It was a beautiful flying knee. And his brother choked out Munir Lazez in round 1, right? Yeah. Keep an eye on that. The Bonfim brothers.
Yeah, those guys were both incredible. And it was so cool to me, like seeing the older brother, I guess it was Gabriel, was celebrating backstage with Gilbert Burns when you know, his other brother got the win, and then, you know, cut to him now in a suit watching, you know, his brother get the win, celebrating with Gilbert. That's like, there is just something so cool about that. And did you hear he said they're down to keep fighting on the same card as each other as long as they can both keep racking up wins?
Well, of course they are. Of course they are, because that's what everybody wants. Or we're down. Are you down? Are you going to do everyone a favor? Of course you want to do that. You want to go through that journey with your brother, your literal blood brother, a training partner, someone that you know, someone that you trust. That's what you want around you, people that you're natural with. Because sometimes even just little things when it's fight week and everybody wants a piece of you, and you've got to do the interviews and the press, and you've got to do the weigh-ins, and then you've got to do, you know, you got to go down in the fighter hotel. You know, those little bits at the start, you know.
Right, yeah.
That has to be filmed. You know, the little bit at the start, we go, okay, so this partner here, and my opponent, here's what they got to do all these things. And so you got to, there's a lot, the fight week schedule, there's a lot of demands upon the fighter. Do you know what I mean? ENG, they call it, electronic something graphics. There's a ton of stuff to do that happens behind the scenes. So the fighters are very busy. And then on top of that, if you've got people around you that just suck the energy out of you, it's such a pain in the ass, because I've had that. There's some people around you, meanwhile, maybe they're in your team, maybe they're a new coach or something, but you're like, oh God, this guy, he just sucks the energy out of me, out of the room. He's driving me fucking crazy. But when it's your brother, if your brother's getting on your nerves, you can just tell him to piss off. Do you know what I mean? If Harrington's getting on you, say, Harrington, piss off. Go on, go for a walk. Go on, get out of it. You know, having your brother around would be amazing. Anyway,
I would like to ask Gilbert about that next time he's on the show, because that's like why, like what it's like versus like training or fighting on the same night as Herbert, and then what it's like just cornering him and having him there. Just one other thing before we move on from the card, Jilton Almeida.
Oh yeah,
performance of the night bonus. He's got 3 finishes, I think all first round. Sorry, this one was second round, but 3 early finishes since he moved up to heavyweight from light heavyweight. That could be a contender right there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I knew that right from the first time I saw him fight. I commentated him on the Contender, took out a Dagestani, beat him in his own game. Very, very strong. Anyway, so some of this news stuff. I mean, obviously, Jose Aldo got put in the Hall of Fame on Saturday. That was a beautiful moment to see him there, shedding a tear, getting the reception that he was due with his wife, with his mentor and longtime coach, Andre Pederneiras. I mean, to be honest, that was a shoo-in. That was always going to happen. Who do we think are some of the future Hall of Famers that are a definite shoo-in? Dominic Cruz, right? Because he's got to be somewhat close to retirement, right? I don't know whether he might have 1 fight, 2 fights, 5 fights. I don't think he'll have more than 5 fights. You know what I mean? Somewhere in the region from 1 to 5. There's Dominic Cruz for sure, Brian.
I think whether people like it or not, Conor McGregor gets in immediately when he's up for eligibility.
No. Conor McGregor is without a question.
He might get his own wing.
Yeah, no, well, Conor has his own wing. Conor has his own wing at the when you go to the UFC offices, the new big fancy offices that they have now, which are absolutely beautiful, by the way. You walk in, there's a giant statue of some boxer made out of bronze. It's gigantic. It's a beautiful building. And I've done quite a bit of work there, obviously, on the production side. There is the Conor McGregor meeting room. Okay, it's all made out of glass. It's got Conor McGregor etched into. Oh, I'm serious. It's like, all right, we'll meet you at the Conor McGregor room at 11. You know what I mean?
That's wild.
Yeah, so he'll be in the Hall of Fame.
Well, that's Stipe. I think Stipe gets in.
He does not have his own room at the Performance Institute.
Yeah, I know.
Stipe, Stipe will be in the Hall of Fame for sure. He's the greatest heavyweight of all time. Who else? Kamaru Usman when he decides to hang it up, for sure.
Yeah. Well,
is he?
Yep, is it 100% without question? Other than Anderson Silva, the most successful middleweight I think we've had.
Yeah. Do you think Oliveira gets it?
I think Oliveira, and that's a good person to bring up for a little talkie, because he came out today. Just have a look for this, Brian. He came out and he said that he's going to fight Islam Makhachev later in the year. He said, I'll have one fight, one win. He said, and guaranteed I will be fighting Islam Makhachev again. And he said, and I won't change a damn thing. He said, all that happened was I had a bad night. I had a bad night at the office. My workload was far too much. You know, I was overworked. I was stressed out. I had a bad night. Simple as that. Fair play to him. He said, but when I get my chance, I'm going to win one more fight. I will get an opportunity and I will make the most of it. And that's interesting. I mean, of course he's going to say that because he's a fighter and he believes in himself. But what do you think? Bad night at the office or beaten by a far superior fighter?
So there was a certain sense of like, you know, like you were just saying, having like that massive team around you that could suck your energy out. Dude, he was rolling like 30 people deep in Abu Dhabi. You know what I mean?
And they all had bleached blonde hair.
It becomes a bit of a circus at a certain point. You know what I mean? Like it can become a lot. And I get that. You're heading into enemy territory. You've got 8 million Muslim brothers who are standing behind Islam. You want to feel like you have guys having your back. That does feel like quite a bit on fight week for the biggest fight of your life.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it does detract from your energy. And my friends, Nick, Pete, and Adam Catchell that I work with on BT Sport, they were there for that. And to your point, they mentioned that. That's one of the things. They said, oh, my God, it really was a circus wherever Charles Oliveira went. And in fact, I saw a video a couple of days ago, him down in Brazil for this fight card. I don't know if he was trying to go to the bathroom or whatever it was. And oh, my God, he was just, it was like Elvis Presley or Michael Jackson was walking around. You know, I mean, that's the level of fame that he has now. But can't wait to see him get back. But if he wants that shot at Islam, Islam's going to beat Volkanovski. Because I'm not sure he'll be interested if there isn't a belt on the line.
He also, I heard him say that, you know, he was saying, like, it makes sense. Beneil is the fight right now that makes the most sense. He said he wasn't sure if that was the fight that he wanted to take. He was going to look at what makes the most sense for him. But if the UFC tell him that's the guy, then he said he's willing to fight him.
And when Beneil came on last week, I think he called out Charles as well, didn't he? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And hey, how about a bit of appreciation for Beneil Dariush? I mean, what a guy last week. Granted, potentially the worst Wi-Fi connection ever. I mean, the crackling sound, it was painful. But what a guy. What a great guy. You know what I mean? A very personable, lovely fella. But in the octagon, he's a monster. Him versus Charles Oliveira, number one contender matchup right there. That could be the next challenge for Islam if he gets through, or Volkanovski. Speaking of lightweight contenders, Michael Chandler. I don't know what it is about fighters. They don't like responding to text messages. Chandler's awesome, right? He's got back. He's like, yeah, let's do it. He said, I'm sorry, I am the worst. Because he said about coming on the show. I said, 100%. We'd love to have you. Thank you very much. And then I responded with some times and he never got back to me. Then he goes, oh my God, I'm so sorry, out the blue. Right, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm like, oh yeah, don't worry, brother. I'm the same way. What about Monday? He said, I can't do that. It's my son's birthday. Totally get it. Of course, family first. How about Thursday? No answer. Anthony Smith, you've seen it on the group text. Anthony Smith doesn't like to respond to a text message, right? A lot of these fighters don't like to respond to messages. Anthony Smith, do better, because if you're not going to host a show, then I'll get a guest. Anyway, what else, Harrington?
Big fight booking in the bantamweight division. Petr Yan versus Merab Dvalishvili. It said the headline the March 11th card.
Dvalishvili.
Okay, Dvalishvili.
You've spelled that wrong, Dvalishvili. That is not. I feel like you've eradicated some syllables there. It's Dvalishvili. Anyway, whatever. I mean, geez, that is a good fight. It's a tough one for Petr Yan coming off, you know, well, 2 losses, one now to Aljamain and then Sugar Sean.
3, because he had the back-to-back losses to Aljamain.
Yeah, true. I mean, Merab is a spoiler. He's a beast. Who did he just beat last time? Jose Aldo, right? Salt Lake City, I believe. I mean, he's a monster. And that's probably a part of the reason Aljamain Sterling has been so successful, because he has somebody like Merab by his side in the gym every single day, coming to fights with him. It's the perfect training partner. And you know what? When it comes down to it, you only need one. So Merab versus Petr Yan, I think that's a tough fight for Petr Yan. Certainly off the back of 3 losses, confidence dwindling a little bit. And stylistically, Merab can do exactly what Aljamain did.
Yeah, and I mean, we're talking now, like, Petr Yan goes from a guy inside of, 2 years now, from somebody who I thought would be ruling the division for the next half a decade to somebody who now is back against the wall off of 3 losses and staring a big one in the face. That is crazy just how quickly things can change in this sport. And yeah, like you said, I don't necessarily see the path to victory for Petr. They're seeing, twice what Aljamain's been able to do, and Merab is by all accounts that much more frightening.
Merab.
I mean, come on, dude, you're killing me with this pronunciation thing.
Called the Arabs. What's that? What was that? Boats and holes.
Step Brothers?
Yeah, no, Step Brothers. Yeah, but boats and holes. How's it go?
Oh, Captain Mehab called it.
Called the. Oh, is it? I love that movie. I love Step Brothers. Anyway,
do you think, by the way, though, him taking that fight against now, like he's continuing to take fights against these higher and higher ranked opponents, is this the signal that Aljamain is calling it in the bantamweight division after this and is ready to move up to featherweight? Because if I'm him, knowing that there's no title fight at the end of this, unless Aljamain is seriously considering leaving the division, I would never take a fight against Petr Yan.
Well, no, but regardless of whatever Aljamain's doing, Merab still has to focus on his career first. He can't just constantly be a training partner, an understudy, carry his bags, and take fights which will determine that he doesn't fight his teammate. You know what I mean? They're all teammates, but at the end of the day, right, he wants what Aljamain's got. And yeah, he'll be loyal and all the rest of it. And they might say they'll never fight each other, but he's not going to continue to work his way up to put himself in a position to challenge for a belt. Speaking of Aljamain Sterling, though, you must have saw this talk with the torn bicep, right? He's saying that he's got a partially torn bicep and that the fight with Henry Cejudo can't take place or potentially can't take place anytime soon. What do you make of that? Because when he beat, and I'm not saying that he's stalling, but, and listen, technically he's doing the right thing, but fighters just have a habit of sucking it up and going out there and getting the job done anyway. But when he beat Petr Yan the first time, then he had the neck surgery, so he was out for a while. Then he beats him again, beats TJ, and then now he's saying he needs surgery once again. Do you think there's any scope for an interim bantamweight title if he takes a significant amount of time out?
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I think he knows that, too. Like, I think he actually came out and said, like, look, if you make an interim title, that's fine. He said that maybe a while ago with the when O'Malley was talking about it. But it's like, look, if you're him, his reasoning was sound to me. He's like, I'm supposed to be in a training room preparing for a wrestler. I can't get these underhooks. I can't, run the pipe on these guys. I can't actually, the wrestling. Right? Wrestling itself with a partially torn bicep to the extent that he's saying it is, it's just impossible. So, you talk about it all the time. You only get this time in the sun for so long. You only get to be champion for so long. Make the most of it while you can. I don't fault anyone for being like, look, I've fought every contender known to man to get to this point. You're getting me at my optimal or you're not getting me. Can't hate that.
No, absolutely. No. Fully agree. And that's just being smart. You know what I mean? Allowing yourself to go into an octagon, not 100%. It's the ego that takes over. It's not wanting to miss that payday as well. But more importantly, you think, I can still do it. Yeah, I'm injured. Everyone's injured. We can still do it. To be brutally honest and smart is to say, no, I'm going to get repaired. But that should bring an interim title fight. And I think the perfect scenario would be if, and it's a big if, Chito Vera can beat Corey Sandhagen, which is coming up soon. Chito versus O'Malley for the interim title. That would be amazing. And if Corey Sandhagen was to beat Cheeto, then Cheeto versus O'Malley. Because I think O'Malley's put himself in that position. Cheeto certainly has. But if Sandhagen can beat him, then of course he'll take that position. I think that would be the way to go. And then, well, of course, you've got Henry Cejudo that's going to muddy those waters a little bit. But I think the fact that he's been out for so long, he can't just come back and have. I mean, if he was going to fight Aljamain Sterling, great. But I wouldn't put him in the interim title fight because I think interim needs to go to a guy that's, screwing away, but trying to earn those stripes. Cejudo, yeah, okay, granted, he retired as a 2-weight division champion. We know all that stuff. But still, I just want to see Cheeto versus O'Malley again. And I want to see it for an interim belt. Call me whatever you want. And you will do in the comments. And you do, and I see you all. And guess what? Keep that same energy when you see me to my face, bro.
The only reason I would argue against that is because that is a rematch that is so star-studded, right? That we as fans have been dying to see literally since that first fight ended, right? People have been calling for the rematch there. I feel like whoever is the champion should be getting pay-per-view points for that fight. Like, that's my only argument against the interim title, is that one guy should be the belt holder for that, to reap the fruits of their labor in building this fight.
Yeah, sometimes you can still get pay-per-view points. It depends on the fighter, depends on the deal, depends on your manager, but it's not unheard of. You know what I mean? And I got pay-per-view points when I challenged for the belt. You know what I mean?
Did you really?
Oh yeah, I did. You know what I mean?
You must know the right people.
Well, you gotta play the right game. You know what I mean? Anyway, so but it's a lot of things can be on a case-by-case basis. Yes, of course, there's a framework generally to how things happen, but that's not 100%, how things always work. It's not the be all and end all. Anyway, right, so Anthony Smith, pissed off. I think Thursday we've got a couple of good guests lined up. Who've we got? We've got Mohammed Makaev coming on, surging flyweight contender. He's hilarious. That's why I wanted to have him on. Honestly, he's fighting at UFC London. He's hilarious, and he's got some funny little stories. He's a cheeky little scamp, is what he is, and a hell of a fighter. Hopefully, we got Michael Chandler for Thursday as well.
Is he the massive gun enthusiast?
I don't know. Maybe.
Makaev? I feel like I've seen him posing with like some pretty, like what I would call scary guns, what Sean Strickland would call shower guns.
Yeah. Well, Sean Strickland says, what's more American than, what was it? What's more
showering
American?
with your AK-47.
And an AK-47 is a Russian gun, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. So what's more American than showering with an AK-47 with a Russian gun? Well, maybe with a Smith & Wesson. That would be more American.
Colt 45, baby.
If you got to be dumb, you got to be tough. There we go. Shout out Sean. He is fun, though. I do love Sean. He's absolutely hilarious. All right, today's episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Now, BetterHelp offers professional counseling done securely online. So if there's something bothering you that you're thinking about constantly, that's stopping you from achieving your goals, if there's something that's just worrying you sick, if you've got a temper that's messing up your life, if you've got an addiction issue, if you can't stop drinking, if you're riddled with anxiety, or if there's just someone you need to talk to because you're grief-stricken, there's something that's going on, speaking to somebody will help. Speaking to a licensed professional counselor will help even more. And that's what BetterHelp is. It's not a crisis line or any whack doctors. No, it's professional counseling done securely online. And BetterHelp is also committed to finding you the right match. If you don't like the person you're talking to, I don't mean not like, but if you're just not bonding, not gelling, you don't find that your personalities are clicking, push of a button, you can change to somebody else. Over 1 million people have taken charge of their mental health using BetterHelp, and financial aid is also available if you qualify. So become the best version of yourself. Put those skeletons in your closet to rest. Stop flipping out. Get a hold of your anxiety. Quit drinking. Stop the cigarettes. Stop your temper tantrums. And stop worrying. Whatever it is, speak to somebody. BetterHelp.com/believe. They're so popular right now because they're doing such a great job. They're actually hiring more counselors, okay, in all 50 states. Okay, so BetterHelp.com/believe. Got to get 10% off your first month. You will thank me if you see me in person for doing this, because it takes a lot of balls to do it, but you know deep down inside yourself if you've got an issue that needs handling. Finding someone can be time consuming. So just go to betterhelp.com/believe, save 10%, and start on your journey to become the best version of you. Start on your journey to not having these worries, to where you're being your own worst enemy. That's it in a nutshell. We are all our own worst enemies. Help those issues. Help you to help yourself by going to betterhelp.com/believe, save 10%, and all the best. All right, Jake Paul set to box Tommy Fury. Not going to talk about that at length. He'll probably smoke Tommy Fury, to be fair. Raul Rosas Jr. added to UFC 278, getting the pay-per-view treatment again. Christian Rodriguez, that's nice. UFC reportedly booking Bobby Green and Jared Gordon. Tough fight for Jared there. I mean, one that he could win, but Bobby's just so fast and dynamic. Bobby's a tough fight for anyone. Who did he last lose to? What was his last?
Drew Dober.
Oh, Drew Dober, of course, yeah. And he was doing so good in that fight, weren't he? Because he was so fast and he was pimping him and he was picking him apart and he was landing at will. And then Dober gets in and lands that shot and puts him to sleep. And poor old Bobby. We've had Bobby on the show a million times. Well, not a million times, maybe twice. Or three maybe. But he spoke about the hardships of his life. You know what I mean? And you can't help but root for a guy like that. And then to see him and he got knocked out and he was like, what happened? What happened? But he was so cool about it. Literally within seconds, he was like, all right, come here, give me a hug. It was like, son of a bitch, whatever. So that was cool to see. So Bobby Green, Jared Gordon, for Zeev, I guess we got to go through this and then we'll get to some questions, because I feel for Zeev, we told Phuket Top Team's version of events that apparently he left and didn't pay some rent at the house. And we didn't say it from a nasty perspective. It was just a funny story to talk about. But Fazeev has come out and given his side of the story. It's only fair that we allow him to clear his name. So, Harrington.
So he came out and said that he did train there quite a bit. He was living there. They offered him room and board as part of the agreement. And the deal was they would take 10% of his fight purse. He said he won a few tournaments when he was fighting Muay Thai. And the percentage that they took was much larger than the agreed upon 10%. And he said he never said a word about it because he just appreciated, being able to live there, the whole lifestyle, the whole thing. Eventually, there came a situation where he was injured and he couldn't compete anymore. So he needed to take a job at another institute out there. I believe it was Tiger Muay Thai, to go there as a teacher. And that made them leave on not the best of terms. But he's like, look, I had to do what I had to do to feed my family. These guys have been coming after me ever since. Now they're making up some story about me owing somebody money for staying there. And it's all nonsense.
Well, it's all he said, she said, whatever. You know what I mean? We'll never know. Two sides of the argument. I just thought it was only fair that we allow you to say his side as well. So anyway, whatever. Phuket Top Team, great guys. Fazeev, he's got a hell of a fight coming up with Justin Gaethje. Did we talk about that? Gaethje and Fazeev?
Yes, we talked about it.
Yeah, co-main event, UFC London. That's great. I tell you what, we got some great fight cards coming up because what have we got? Is there fights this weekend? There isn't, right? We got that off
this weekend.
But then next week, the week after, February 4th, we've got Derek Lewis versus Sergey Spivak. That's the main event. And then it's kind of a Korean showcase. Week after, we've got the pay-per-view down in Australia. We've got John Jones coming up shortly after that. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, we got Tito,
Lewis, Makachev, Volkanovski, Vera Sandhagen, another one. Jones versus Garn, Young versus Dvalishvili, Edwards versus Usman 3, and then a fight night, 325. I think that's San Antonio, Texas. I'll be there. Out of all of them, I'm working 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. There's only 8 on there. I'm working 6 of the 8, and I'll be doing the other ones for BT Sport as well. So it's a busy time coming up. But
you're going to Australia?
I'm going to Australia.
Australia and London within a month of each other. That's a...
No. Hold on. I'm going Australia, London. I'm all over the bloody place. San Antonio, Vegas. No, I'm doing Vegas. The fight doesn't start till 1 a.m. in the morning. Right?
That's a wild one.
But then I've got to drive home in the middle of the night. So I'll get on at like 6, 7 in the morning. That day, I'm going to fly to Australia, do that, come back, one at the Apex, one in San Antonio, fly to London. It's going to be a lot. I'm not complaining now. I'm very, very blessed. Very blessed. Anyway, enough of that. Enough of me waffling. We know. You know. If you want to send questions in, please do so to bympod@gmail.com. Come on. Send them in. Abuse us. Question us. Test us. Put us to the limit. Harrington.
If you're enjoying the show on Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you find podcasts, make sure you subscribe to the show and you leave a 5-star rating, positive review. Haven't checked in on those in a while, but they do help the show out. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel and you hit that notification bell to find out whenever a new episode comes out. Also, if you want to catch over 400 episodes completely ad-free and uncensored, head to gasdigitalnetwork.com. Use the promo code BYM. Get yourself a 7-day free trial. Check out over 20 great shows on the network.
All right, Brian. What do we have?
So we got a question here from Richard Warwick. And just a warning, he is a ginger.
Ooh. Oh, geez. He's a proper ginger.
Hey, guys. Richard here, coming from the beautiful mountains of South Wales. I want to ask Bisping how he feels about Sharaputkin Magomedov signing for the UFC, even though he's blind in one eye. I also want to ask when you're getting Jack Shaw on the podcast. And I want to say, fuck you, Harrington. You look like a homeless Kenny Florian. Thank you.
It's coming from you? From you? Want to call me homeless looking?
Well,
Come on, man.
You don't insult the guests. That's not part of your job here. I thought a homeless Kenny Florian that's been on, not a hungry Kenny Florian. That's for damn sure. No, cheers, mate. Big shout out to the Welsh Boyos, don't you know? He's coming at us from the Welsh Mountains. And he had a question for me, you know. This is how they talk in the valleys. Cheers, mate. So do you know what? It's funny he mentions that because obviously, you know, I said, oh, you can't fight with one eye. I was joking and all the rest of it. And I saw in the comments or a tweet, said, oh, the UFC just signed somebody with one eye. And now he just mentioned it. I'm not familiar with the name. Can you just look this up? Because if this is accurate, if it's true, because and this goes back to what I was saying about what's his name, the young man, Nick Newell, I believe. I was kind of annoyed. I'm like, how can he fight with one hand, but I can't fight with one eye? You know, and now there's a guy signed with one eye, which maybe he's not going to fight in the States because the athletic commissions generally don't allow. Well, I know for a fact. It caused me much stress and sleepless nights. But have you found anything, Harrington, whilst I've been filling
No, so I do know about this guy. I've seen I've seen some highlights of him, and he's popped up on my timeline for just random things. I don't know if it's confirmed that he's blind, but I mean, if you look at a picture of this guy, his eye is super milky. I put the name in the chat, Brian, if you want to bring up an image of him. But it looks like he's blind, but I can't find anything that's saying like he's confirmed blind in one eye.
Yeah. Well, let's take a look at that picture, Brian, please, if you don't mind. Sharaputkin Magomedov.
Mm-hmm.
Sharaputkin Magomedov. Can we zoom it in? Right. So, which one are you saying is milky? The one on his right side?
Yeah, his right side.
Hold on, let's just see. Brian's going to bring up a better picture.
Yeah, I mean, these are all kind of small and hard to see. But yeah, I mean, if you...
Yeah. No. But well, the thing is as well that would lead me to believe is that it's looking outwards as well. Because what happens is if it can't see anything, if it's not focusing on anything, then the brain doesn't tell the muscles to keep it looking that direction. So it just relaxes and it looks away. You know what I'm saying? Because initially when my eye started having issues, what it did was, because it wasn't completely blind at first. Hold on, let's have a look there. Again, yeah, it does look very milky in the middle. So has he been signed? Has he been signed by the UFC?
Yeah, he's 17-0. He's signed by Ali Abdelaziz, and Ali made like a big, showing when he got the name on the dotted line there. 17-0 prospect out of Russia.
Yeah. Well, listen, you can say it's not easy, it's not hard, but if you're used to it, if he's had that for a very, very long time, you can adapt your style. And then obviously he's from Russia. He's probably going to have a great wrestling base. Once he gets his hands on somebody, management control, range, depth of motion and all the rest of it isn't really going to matter. But still, it's very curious. I can't imagine. I think he'd have a hard time getting licensed in certainly in New York or Las Vegas or California or any of the states for the most part. The test requirement is 2200 vision in each eye, and 2200 vision, by the way, is still classed as clinically blind. But that's what you've got to, that's the benchmark you have to pass. So it's not very hard. It's not very hard, but if you can't see, it's impossible.
So it's like there's 2020. You're saying 2100 is the
no 2200. So 2020 vision. So if you look, you know an eye chart, the eye test. If you're looking at one of them, 2020 vision is you're able to read all of it, I think, or to down to a certain level, but the majority of it. 2200 vision, all you're going to be able to read is, and this is easy, you got the big letter at the top, let's say it's a letter A. It's a big, huge letter A. Underneath it, you got two letters, let's say it's B and C. That's all you've got to be able to read for 2200 vision. So it's not hard, and if you can't read that, you can't fight, and that's classed as clinically blind. It also makes it very easy if one wanted to cheat the test, because you've only got to memorize 3 letters. I'm not saying how I know that. I'm not saying how that becomes in very handy. Okay, I'm just saying that if someone was of the mind where they wanted to cheat the test and they were able to look at said test first because the doctor didn't know you were trying to cheat it and didn't have a suspicious mind about you and generally just thought you were checking on the welfare of your eyes. And if perhaps that doctor walked out the room and left you in there by yourself, one could memorize that test. Just saying. But Magomedov, or whatever his name is, all the best to him. I wish him nothing but the best of luck. Anyway, all right. That was a good question.
All right. So now we have another question in the same-ish vein. This one's an audio question from
Adam from sunny England. Huge fan of the podcast. Massive fan of the legend that is Michael Bisping. My question is for Mike. So bear with me. Sounds like a fucking stupid question. But do you think losing sight in one eye and that injury actually made you a better fighter? Now, obviously, that's fucking nonsense physiologically, but you then went on to become the middleweight champ. You defended it. You fought some fucking beasts during that time. So I'm just wondering if something changed in your approach to fights mentally, in your training, and how you just dealt with that made you level up. Because obviously then you went on to do some amazing things, which shouldn't really have worked. So yeah, just interested to hear your thoughts, and be keen to see what you think about that if you ever thought about it. Love the pod. You guys are great. Anthony, hope you're on time. And Harrington, just fucking chin up, man. These guys aren't that hard. Bye.
That was Adam, right? I believe. Thank you, Adam. Appreciate that. Very, very kind. It's always weird. You know, obviously you said some very, very nice things there. People don't want to hear me banging on about that. Oh God, here he goes again. But to answer your question real quick, yeah, obviously in terms of ability, it's a massive hindrance. You know, it really is. And I had to completely change my style. In fact, I used to use my jab a lot. I never knew this. Anthony Evans that wrote my book for me, he looked at the stats from when my eye injury occurred before to after. The stats of how much I used my jab was massively less because, you know, it's a long range attack and I didn't have the depth of vision, you know. So what I did was essentially, because I still wanted to fight, I had to fight. I wasn't financially in a position. I didn't have a successful podcast like I do now and all these other opportunities. I wasn't commentating the UFC. And at that time, I was like, crap, I've just moved out to the States. I've just bought this big, stupid house, right? And I've got this ridiculously expensive lawsuit going on right now. I am not in a position to be able to hang the gloves up and walk away from this. If this stops right here, right now, I'll be going back to Clitheroe with my tail between my legs because we can't afford to stay here. We can't afford to live here. I haven't got opportunities set up. And we've just bought this stupid house and all that, you know, and the lawsuit, the fees for the lawsuit was astronomical, which incidentally I might hopefully be getting back. Anyway, but that's another story. So I had to fight, and through whatever means necessary, I made that a reality. And of course I was affected ability wise. So I had to make sure that in every other aspect, I was 110%, whether that be technically, whether that be my grappling, my jiu-jitsu, my conditioning, my mental focus, all the rest of it. I had to make sure, okay, so I'm at a massive disability because I've only got one eye. So everything else has to be as good as I can possibly make it. because, okay, all right, maybe before you could get lazy, you know what I mean, rest on your talents and all the rest of it. Well, now I'm going into every fight at a huge disadvantage. So I've got to make the things that I am good at even better so I can be the best version of myself. So thank you for the question. There it is. Enough about me. You're all like, oh, God, can Anthony just get back on? Can you just tell Harrington to fuck off and stop talking about yourself? Brian, what else, buddy?
We got one more question from a guy who really gets it. This guy's name is Langtree Furbish.
Hold on. When you say a guy that really gets it, I'm assuming what's your bet, Harrington, that this involves a lot of abuse at you?
No. I think this guy is he wrote like a 3-act play that he's about to put out, right? Like he gets the show. He understands everything that we do here.
No, you're wrong. You're both wrong. Check this out.
Hello to the guys with the best MMA podcast on the planet. I heard that the time is pretty limited, so I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible for Michael that doesn't like hearing long questions. First, Michael, I have a question for you. What is that thing that you have in the background of your setup for your YouTube channel? There's one thing that you have next to the Hall of Fame thing that is like a face thing with lights and shit. I want to know what it is. Second, guys, Anthony and Michael, what is the most painful single strike you've been hit with? Thank you for your time.
Well, thank you very much for the question, but you know what would have made it even shorter if you just got straight to the goddamn bloody point and not explain why you were talking like this and why you're just getting straight to the point and talking really fast. And because you were talking so fast at one point, it was making it really hard to understand. I mean, if you just got to the bloody question and asked it in a normal speed and just got right to the point, it would have been shorter. No, thanks for your question, buddy.
I appreciated it.
Yeah. Adding a bit of humor. What did he say? I was too busy mocking him.
He was saying he's trying out for his auctioneer's license.
Did he really? Oh,
no. He wants to know about the NFT frame that you have.
Oh, is that what it was? Yeah. So this is an NFT from Block Asset. You can't see it now because it's not on there. Is he talking? Oh, there it is. A little NFT from Block Acid. Then we got the Hall of Fame thing there. Then we got an award from a documentary. Then that's a very unconvincing ram's skull with horns from Hobby Lobby. Bloody Lobby of all places.
There's a guy who wants to send us all actual like cattle skulls or ram skulls, and I'm trying to get him to send them. So you might have a real one soon.
What was that actor called? We bought this big it's antlers. It's gigantic. It's antlers and like a moose head or something.
Okay.
But it's like 150 years old. But it's carved out of wood, but the antlers are real. And it belonged to some famous actor, but his wife died or he died or something. And it ended up in this antique store. And it's sick. We love it. It's so creepy. Really creepy. And we had it, you know, when you walk downstairs, when you walk down the stairs, there's like a bit of a wall above you that your head goes under. We put it there. But the problem was you never see it. No one ever sees it. They were like, the only people that see it is us when we walk downstairs in the morning. For a split second, go, yeah, those antlers look cool. But no one ever sees them. So we took them down. They're pride of place in the house. But all right. What are you doing for the rest of the week, Harrington?
I don't know. I have no clue. I have no clue what happens day to day in my life. Where my girlfriend tells me I gotta go, that's where I go. When Brian tells me I gotta show up to a thing, that's how it works.
Right, listen, I get it. She's pregnant, right? You're being a supportive husband. What?
I'm telling you I'm being irresponsible, if anything.
Why are you being irresponsible?
Because I don't know what my schedule is for the rest of the week. What's your schedule for the rest of the week?
Mine?
Yeah.
I know damn well what my schedule is.
I can attest to Mike's irresponsibility for sure.
Yeah. No. I'm just going to say, you've got to establish a bit of authority here, though, right? You want to be supportive. She's pregnant. She's going through a lot. She's got a huge moment in her life coming up soon, and you want to be there and be as supportive as possible. But you've also got to establish some ground rules and a bit of respect on both sides and say, listen, I get it. You're going through a lot, but this is also an exciting time for me, right? This is going to be a life-changing moment. I don't want to be forever think of this period in our life as the time when you just treated me like a bloody dustbin and shit on me and bullied me around and shouted at me. I get you're going through a lot of hormonal changes right now, Alex, but you've really got to, this is a two-way street. You know what I mean? Some men can have babies now. Do you know what I mean?
I agree with Mike. You should definitely hit her more.
Whoa. Brian.
It's a joke. It's a
if she gets the
joke.
coffee wrong, of course. We've had this we've talked about this many times, but Saturday morning I was at the gym and I'm doing the stepper machine. You know the stepper machines? That's my new favorite thing, by the way. I am loving. I know it's a bit girly.
Are you talking about the Stairmaster or the
stair climber? The Stairmaster.
Okay, yeah.
Is that much better on your knees than running?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And the good thing is, because I'm doing when I do my workout, I'm doing 30 minutes on the Stairmaster, right? And I sweat like a bloody maniac. I've got a pretty good pace, and it's a good workout. My legs kill afterwards, but there's no impact on my knees. But I found, and this isn't revolutionary, people go, yeah, Michael, we all do this. But I've only just started doing it. When I'm working out, I always listen to music, right? Because it gets me going. But even though if I'm running, it's okay because I'm outside, I'm in nature, and that's fine. But in a gym, on a treadmill, on a Stairmaster, whatever cardio piece of equipment it is, you're all just counting down the bloody minutes. You want it to end, right? I hate working out on a piece of cardio machine in a gym because it's so unfulfilling. It's annoying, right? You want the time to go down. And certainly with the music on, you're still looking at the clock going, oh, God. I've just been watching YouTube videos, man. The time flies by. I swear, I've been in 30 minutes on that Stairmaster, and people are probably like, yeah, Michael, we all do that. But there's a little ledge. I just put my phone on there. I watch a bunch of YouTube videos. And before I know it, 30 minutes, I swear, it's gone like that. And one that came up was that video. I think it's Barbara Walters and Sean Connery when he was talking about slapping her. And we talked about this recently, but the full interview is just hilarious.
It's great. Talking about a guy who just did not give an F.
Did not care. Still, anyway, that's the show, guys. Thank you all for tuning in. Anthony Smith will be back for the full episode. Of course, he just got back from Brazil. Literally just walked in now. So fair play. Thank you, Anthony. Get some rest. Thank you all for supporting the show. We truly, truly appreciate you all. We're growing massively. You know what? It just dawned on me the other day, Harrington. I think out of all fighters, our podcast is probably the most popular and the best.
I look at those numbers all the time, and I believe you're correct.
I don't think any fighter has a podcast that comes close to us. So the point I'm saying is I'm not thanking me. I'm thanking you guys. I'm thanking you, Harrington, and you, Brian, as well, because the show wouldn't be what it is without you two. It's a great dynamic. I know everyone thinks I bust your balls. I say very nice things to you, especially off the air. Off the air, the act stops. You know what I mean? The abuse stops.
Yeah, you are actually way kinder off, Mike, but I can't believe you just realized this. I've been telling you for years, this is the best MMA podcast on the planet.
Well, I don't know about the best. You know what I mean? There's others out there.
But people like it the most.
Well, it's doing all right, but thank you all very much. We appreciate you. Anthony will be back Thursday. Fingers crossed we've got Michael Chandler. Mohammed Makayev will be on for sure. If not Chandler, he'll probably respond to the text in 2 months. We'll have someone else. We'll have some good guests back on Thursday as well as Anthony Smith. Harrington and Brian will be on as well. Till then, you guys take care.